Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Should we stand up? Oh, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Haribo, Haribo. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna
Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I'd like to read a verse from Canto 2, Chapter 3, Srimad Bhagavatam. And it's very helpful to get a context where this verse is coming. The first 3 chapters of the second canto Srimad Bhagavatam are responsive to questions asked by Shukadeva Goswami from Maharaj Parikshit. Whoa. Nice catch. The question of Maharaj Parikshit is in relation to the stages of God realization. Because God realization doesn't come suddenly. Like the comparison is given of the rising of the sun in the morning. And then gradually, and then the full light of the sun in the morning sun. But before the full light of the morning sun, there's stages of the sun's rising. So the first 3 chapters are depicting that. The first of the 3 chapters is describing the universal form. Canto 2, Chapter 1, the universal form, first step in God realization. And the first step in God realization involves seeing that which is created by God, the temporary material creation or cosmic manifestation or the universal form, as from Him. So that which is from Him has its relationship with Him. And the first step in God realization is to see that which is in relation to Him, the cosmos, and as a different description of the universal form that we find, for example, in Bhagavad Gita. In short, there are multiple, not just 2, there's multiple. Could you close the door? Yeah. There's multiple descriptions of the universal form. But the principle is how the creation can be seen in relation to the source of the creation. And this describes chapter 1. The hills are as stacks of bones. The trees are the hairs on his body. The rivers are his veins, and so forth. The features of material nature, they're manifestations of the cosmic form or the universal form, and seeing those features in relation to the universal form is the first step in God realization. And then Shukadeva Goswami begins shifting the focus from the external feature of the Supreme to the internal feature of the Supreme, or focusing on the Lord of the Heart. So that's the title of that chapter, the Lord of the Heart, Paramatma feature. And then from the Paramatma feature comes chapter 3, which is the Bhagavan feature. And the Bhagavan feature is a description of pure devotional service. In different features of pure devotional service. And one of the features of pure devotional service is seeing the spiritual form of the Lord in the context of the universe, the Lord in the heart, and then the personal feature. Because all is resting, the other two are resting on the personal feature. So there's a nice verse that I'm going to be reading. It's text 22, 2:3:22, 2:3:22. It's a nice verse. I like meditating on this verse in relation to deity installations. The verse reads, translation, "The eyes which do not look at the symbolic representations of the personality of Godhead Vishnu," meaning the deity form, his forms, name, quality, etc., are like those printed on the plumes of a peacock, and the legs, which do not move to the holy places where the Lord is remembered, are considered to be like tree trunks. So the human form is meant for experiencing the personal representations. Now, Prabhupada has taken the liberty to list the personal features, symbolic representations of the personal feature. So in addition to forms, name, quality, etc. And here's the lengthy, or more than 2-page purport. Especially for the householder devotees, the path of deity worship is strongly recommended as far as possible. Every householder, by the direction of the spiritual master, must install the deity of Vishnu, forms like Radha Krishna, Lakshmi Narayan, or Sitaram especially, or any other form of the Lord like Nrsimha, Varaha, Gornitai, Matsya, Kurma, Shalagram Shila, and many other forms of Vishnu like Trivikram, Keshava, Achyuta, Vasudeva, Narayana, Damodar, as recommended in the Vaishnava Tantras or Puranas, and one's family should worship strictly following the directions and regulations of the Archana Vidhi. That's a pretty long sentence. That was one sentence. As any member of the family who is above 12 years of age should be initiated by a bona fide spiritual master, and all the members of the household should be engaged in the daily worship of the Lord, beginning from morning 4 a.m. till night 10 p.m. by performing Mangala Arti, Niranjana, Archana, Puja, Kirtana, Shringara, Bhoga, Vaikali, Sandhya Arti, Pata, Bhoga, and Sharana Arati, etc. Engagement in such worship of the deity under the direction of a bona fide spiritual master will greatly help the householders to purify their very existence and make rapid progress in spiritual knowledge. Simple theoretical book knowledge is not sufficient for a neophyte devotee. Book knowledge is theoretical, whereas Archana process is practical. Spiritual knowledge must be developed by a combination of theoretical and practical knowledge. And that is the guaranteed way for attainment of spiritual perfection. The training of devotional service for a neophyte devotee completely depends on the expert spiritual master who knows how to lead his disciple to make gradual progress toward the path back home, back to Godhead. One should not become a pseudo-spiritual master as a matter of business to meet one's family expenditures. One must be an expert spiritual master to deliver the disciple from the clutches of impending death. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has defined the bona fide qualities of a spiritual master. And one of the verses in that description reads, Shri Vigraharadhana Nityanana Shingarathan Mandiramarjanado Yas Yuktasya Bhaktam Shaniyunjatopi Bande Guru Sri Charanaravindam. Shri Vigraha, or is the archa, or suitable, worshipable form of the Lord, and the disciple should be engaged in worshiping the deity by regular, and he gives a list again, Shringara, by proper decoration and dressing, as also by Mandira Marjana, the matter of cleansing the temple. The spiritual master teaches the neophyte devotee all these kindly and personally to help him gradually in the realization of the transcendental name, quality, form, etc. of the Lord. Paragraph. Only attention engaged in the service of the Lord, especially in dressing and decorating the temple, accompanied by musical kirtan and spiritual instructions from scriptures, can save the common man from the hellish cinema attractions and rubbish sex songs broadcast everywhere by radios. If one is unable to maintain a temple at home, he should go to another's temple, where all the above performances are regularly executed, visiting the temple of a devotee, and looking at the profusely decorated forms of the Lord, well-dressed and well-decorated, sanctified temple naturally infuse the mundane mind with spiritual inspiration. Then comes the legs. People should visit holy places like Vrindavan, where such temples and worship of the deity are specifically maintained. Formerly, all rich men like kings and rich merchants constructed such temples under the direction of expert devotees like the 6 Goswamis, and it is the duty of the common man to take advantage of these temples and festivals observed in the holy places of pilgrimage by following in the footsteps of great devotees, Anuvraja. One should not visit all these sanctified pilgrimage places and temples with sightseeing in mind, but one must go to such temples and sanctified places immortalized by the transcendental pastimes of the Lord and be guided by proper men who know the science. This is called Anuvraja. Anu means to follow, and therefore best to follow the instructions of the bona fide spiritual master, and even in visiting temples and the holy places of pilgrimage. One who does not move in that way is as good as a standing tree, condemned by the Lord not to move. The moving tendency of the human being is misused by visiting places for sightseeing. The best purpose of such traveling tendencies could be fulfilled by visiting the holy places established by great acharyas, and thereby not being misled by the atheistic propaganda of the money-making men who have no knowledge of spiritual matters. End of purport. Shh. One can imagine, Prabhupada wrote this second canto not in Vrindavan. The first canto was in Vrindavan, and then thereafter, in each of the many places where he stayed for some period of time, he would daily engage in the Bhaktivedanta purport writing in the wee hours of the morning when everyone else was asleep, and he was writing the Bhaktivedanta purports. And his audience was the world. Knowing, and sure enough it happened, that his Bhaktivedanta purports would be translated into many, many languages all around the world. So he was speaking to the world as he's sitting in his room and from 11 o'clock p.m. until 3 a.m. or 3:30 a.m. every morning for 4 hours every night when everyone else in the world is asleep. He's busy writing the Bhaktivedanta purports. So his knowing that the audience is the world, just see, he's not holding back any message or information. He's not softening it so that people will think, oh, he's a nice Swami. He speaks nicely. He would speak very strongly. The rubbish, sex songs broadcast everywhere, hellish cinema attractions. So it's strong language. And why? You want to be accepted by people, you speak softly, not strongly. His interest wasn't broad acceptance by many people. His interest was to give people the real thing, to give people transcendence in place of illusion. Transcendence in place of illusion is a challenge, and in part, people are attracted to illusion. They're not only attracted to, they're lost in illusion. So therefore, strong language is sometimes needed, and sometimes he would use. But the alternative was the transcendental message. In the transcendental message, he's giving terminology to the world that people don't know. You know, traditional people in India know. Non-traditional people in India don't know and want to speak with the world. But nonetheless, he's giving, the message of transcendence into the worship. Devotees or anyone else can take it the opportunity to visit holy places. So, but this is specifically on the topic of deity worship, but even when going to holy places, seeing the deities in those holy places, that's part of what makes the holy place a holy place. The Lord performed pastimes in each of these places, that's one. And then there's deities commemorating. So then one goes, one sees the deity, one hears the pastime performed in that place, and there's a spiritual purification dose. And doing that again, it's just like chanting of a mantra. You chant the mantra, then you chant the mantra again. Repetition of the mantra, repetition of this holy place, that holy place, and doing these things and similar things in each of the places. It's the actual life of one who's situated in Krishna consciousness, as opposed to the life that's the diseased life or the unnatural life of one who's immersed in the substitute or the diseased condition. So the diseased condition has lots of other things. When people are not well, they still do things, but those things that they do are disease type of things. And then there's healthy types of things. And supposing you're perfectly healthy, then you do perfectly healthy things. And with full immersion. One of the topics that this coming weekend we'll be discussing, just a little, only a few of the persons in the room here are going to be with us, so I can share with those that won't be with us. There's a description of Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan, where the opening line of 5 chapters is Yogamaya Samavrita. So Yogamaya Samashrita. Krishna took shelter of his own spiritual potency, Yogamaya. So this is very similar to taking shelter of the process of deity worship, because one can begin deity worship in a beginning way, and it's, as Prabhupada is beginning this purport, it's a purification opportunity, and therefore part of the recommendation for those who are householders, and many people in this world are householders, so they can purify their very existence. So Krishna in Vrindavan, not that he needs purification of his existence, but he who is in the supremely pure position, he takes shelter of his Yogamaya. Yogamaya has 2 parts, the yoga part and the Maya part. The Maya part means his energy. And then there's different adjectives modifying or describing or characterizing which part of his energies, because everything is his energy, but his internal and external energy. And of the internal energy, there's that which unites, that energy which brings union or connection or relationship. So when going to Vrindavan, or when going to any holy place, but specifically because it's Vrindavan is mentioned in the purport, and we're going to be speaking about it this next weekend, Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan are especially dear to him in the sense that everything is dear to him because everything is from him, but the residents of Vrindavan have very, very special regard, very intimate regard, not as the supreme, but as their dear friend or their beloved or their dear son, etc. So there are those pastimes in Vrindavan, and they're very sweet. So Krishna takes shelter of his being connected with his devotees in Vrindavan. Of course, again, in any place, he's connected with everyone at all times, but especially in the intimate feature of Vrindavan, and very, so similar with deity worship. Deity worship has its vidhis, and one is recommended to follow the vidhis, the rules and regulations. He's not giving a deity worship class or seminar in this purport, he's just mentioning by name. And then there are seminars that teach the details and details and details and so many details. Makes your head spin, so many details. And some persons, that's their life. The pujaris that are Brahminically inclined, and that's their life, is these details. And in the beginning, it's vidhis, it's rules. You do this, you do that, you avoid the other thing, and you're following the vidhis of sadhana bhakti. The nature of the vidhis of sadhana bhakti, when done properly, under the proper guidance is part of the properly, not just the do's and the don'ts, but done in the right consciousness, then eventually something that's not just regulative, but something that's spontaneous becomes the experience of the worshiper. That is to say, reciprocation of the personality of Godhead comes to very qualified persons. Because Krishna is a person, and he's reciprocating with their personal approach to him. And that's the way of devotion, that's the way of deity worship. It starts, and however long it goes for, but the regulative, very carefully adhering to a regular standard according to the teachings of deity worship, the vidhis of deity worship, and maintaining cleanliness, especially. Prabhupada's explanation of the principles of deity worship, two are most important. Very simple. Cleanliness and punctuality. And punctuality means when it's time for Mangalarti, it's time for Mangalarti. Now, circumstances of life, in household life, sometimes being so fastidiously punctual may be compromised in certain days by circumstances. Nonetheless, one tries to organize one's life according to the regulation, and that way a householder can be regulated. You know, a very important part of regulation is centering one's regulation around the deity, centering the regulation of life and the regulation of time in relation to the deity is placing the deity at the center of one's life. And that's nice. That's Krishna consciousness, placing Krishna at the center of one's life. Based upon one's responsibilities, you know, let's say children or family members, or occupation, or guests, or other things that make up the details of life besides the deity worship, maintaining a standard that day by day can be maintained, and having maintained those things, may they become one day with deeper feeling and eventually raga bhakti. Those who are raga bhaktas, those who are in the higher stages of bhakti, they also engaged in deity worship. The Goswamis, for example. And, you know, with ecstasy, it wasn't just regulative. They didn't neglect the regulative when it became ecstasy. They did the regulative. But along with the regulative, it was reciprocation. Here's a nice little example. Many of you are familiar with. Sanatana Goswami. Do you know who Sanatana Goswami? You know who the 6 Goswamis are? You know who Lord Chaitanya is? You're not responding. You're on strike, okay. Sanatana Goswami was gifted a deity by a Brahmana in Mathura. Because one of the things that Sanatana Goswami did as a sannyasi is he would go here and there and give his association. So on one fine day, Vrindavan is not so far from Mathura, he was in Mathura. And when he visited the house of a Brahmana, the deity saw him. He saw the deity, and the deity saw him. And the deity decided he wanted Sanatana Goswami to be the one worshipping him. So he appeared in a dream of the Brahmana. Chobe was the name, family name. And the deity told Chobe, I want to be worshipped by that sannyasi that came here today. Please make the arrangement. And he woke up at some point, and he remembered the dream. And he was attached to his deity. The deity was attached to Sanatana Goswami. So he brought the deity to Sanatana Goswami and said, my deity wants to be worshipped by you. You please accept him. And Sanatana Goswami politely declined. He said, I don't even, I sleep under a tree. How am I going to, where am I going to place the deity? And I don't have any possession. What am I going to offer to the deity? So, thank you, but I can't accept. So, happy but also disappointed that Chobe left and went back to Mathura. That night, he had another dream. The deity said, go back to Sanatana Goswami and tell him, I want to be worshipped by him. And he shouldn't say no. Please do this. Sanatana Goswami had a similar dream, and the deity appeared in his dream and said, I want you to worship me. So then he couldn't say no. So he said yes. But he had this little discussion with the deity, personal discussion with the deity. I don't have anything. So I don't have an altar. I'll hang you, I'll put a string and tie the string around this tree, and you can be suspended from a limb of the tree. Very good, very good. No problem. And I only have dry chapatis. So you accept, if you accept whatever I offer you, then okay, I'll worship you. He negotiated a deal. And the deity said, yes, whatever you offer. So this went on for some time, hanging from the tree, suspended by a string or a rope. And the deity then one day spoke to him and said, can you get a little salt? And, Sanatana Goswami said, I told you I can only offer what I have, and you can go back to Chobe, that's okay. So that very day, it so happened that a merchant ship was going up the river Jamuna and got stuck on a sandbar. So his ship head was loaded with salt. And so what to do. There's a similar narration that happened with Madhvacharya. So when his boat became unstuck, he understood there's a sadhu by his presence. Because of his blessing, your boat became unstuck. So he came to Sanatana Goswami and offered anything. He said, just give me some salt so I can give to my deity. So he gave him a lot of salt. And now he was giving his deity some salt. Now that Sanatana Goswami is not us, but the understanding is that the worship of a deity is very personal. It's the Bhagavan feature in chapter 3 of Canto 2, and deity worship is recommended, particularly, as the purport, Bhaktivedanta purport is saying, particularly for householders. Particularly for householders doesn't mean others should not or do not, but yet may not, but particularly beneficial for householders. And Prabhupada's explanation of why particularly householders is his one explanation, there's multiple, but one explanation is because of the bodily conception of life, thus male, female, to relieve one of the material bodily conception to transfer to the spiritual conception of form, although the deity may be made of wood, brass, or stone. the transcendental conception of form, and therefore it's very beneficial, particularly for householders, and particularly beneficial for anyone that has a body, and that's most of us. We have bodies. Beneficial for relieving one further of the bodily conception, and thus the regulation leads also to more mode of goodness life, and particularly these two, cleanliness and punctuality, with regulation, not just more or less, but very specifically punctual. One last thing, and see if there's some discussion. I'm listening to a series of classes given by Srila Prabhupada, and he's in Vrindavan. And one knows that he's in Vrindavan because the devotees, I don't know which devotee, one devotee installed a very big brass bell. And every hour, on the hour, the bell would ring. So like, those giant bells, and they have a cord tied to the piece that hits the side of the bell. And, 1 times or 2 times. So morning class would end at 8 o'clock. And they asked Prabhupada if they should not ring the bell at 8 o'clock because it was right in the middle of class. Or it would mark, this now is time to end the class. That's how it ended up. But he said, no, people in Vrindavan don't have watches, but they'll know because of the temple what time of day it is. So please continue. He liked the idea. And then it's still going on. It's just part of Vrindavan. You know what time it is because exactly on time, at exactly 8 o'clock, 8 times. And it's loud. So people, from far away distance can hear what time it is. And it reminds them of the deity also, wherever they may be. It's the Krishna Balaram Mandir. It's 8 o'clock. And whoever's giving the class, I missed the class this morning. I should make sure I make it for tomorrow morning's class. So they're reminded of Krishna by the regulation of deity worship, cleanliness and regulation, not just regulation, punctuality, exactly at 8 o'clock. Okay, so let's see if there's some discussion on topic of deity worship for grahastas. Quite a few deities over there. Yeah. You want to know the number? 2, 3, 22.
Regarding deity installation and deity welcome, but devotee was telling it is not deity installation, but deity welcome. So I'm not sure. So
Different folks have different opinions. And one might say that's the same thing. One might say formally it's installation. But what's the difference between installation and welcoming? For these people that say it's not this, it's that. What ask them? When you say it's not this, it's that, what's the distinction between this and that? It's just language. It's arbitrary. I'm making a comment. There may be some reason, a technical reason, and if there is a technical reason, I'd be interested to hear what that technical reason is. Why the language in English has to be that instead of this, or this instead of that. It's essentially the same. The formality is, there's different Sanskrit term for the installation ceremony or the procedures for beginning the worship of a deity, where you're literally inviting the deity to reside, and along with an invitation for the deity to reside is worship. And with arti and abhishek, waking offerings, dressing, etc. Installing.
But Maharaj, when we get the deities right, Vrindavan or symbolic place, you bring it, or whether it is carved out, right? But then the process of invoking Lord who enters in the
Pran Pratishtha.
Pratishtha, right? So, I mean, until that Pran Pratishtha happens, then only it is called deities, right?
Then this is technical. It's a deity. That Murti Wala. They selling murtis. Murti is a deity. And so the Murti Wala has some murtis. Are they deities or not? They're deities. They're not installed deities. They're not deities where Pran Pratishtha has been performed, but it's deity. It's it's nomenclature. Don't get lost.
If Prabhu has deities, then practically difficult not able to install. So
Well, it says still a deity. The form of the Lord. Archa. Archa Vigraha. Deity form.
So I have, why I'm asking this, like, in all the deities, they are, I mean, we have not even took out, like, for few years.
You're in the box.
Yeah.
Okay. So what? What's the so pause? What's the question?
Question is like, till we
It's a
have,
deity.
yeah, till we have those, so we worship or can they be,
You should have a proper ceremony to install them. Like the Murti Wala has made the deity. And you went to Vrindavan, you purchased the deity and other deities on your shelf or in a box or something. It's deity here, deity there. Then you worship of the deities after the installation. What's the problem? You want to know, can you worship them without installation? Is that your question? Just do installation. Why fiddle? You're still puzzled. You're not so puzzled. Okay. Someone else?
I had the same question.
You what?
I had the same question as him. What if we have the deities and didn't know about installation and we started worshipping them directly?
Well, what you did was not the right thing to do. So now when you realize you were doing that which is not the right thing to do, what to do? That's the question. Have them installed. And and take permission from a brahmana or sadhu or guru or someone to you commence the worship. And then you do the installation, you commence the worship. So with blessings and with the installation.
An installation has to be done by, right, by mother.
Well, some qualified person to install, but take permission from the right person, from the person that's qualified to give that permission. Okay?
And second question, Maharaj, now we have the deity installed, but do we have to do a feast?
Do you have to do what?
Do we have to do a feast
A feast?
to invite all the devotees?
You can do it, yes or no. You can, yes or no, either way. It's not a have to. It's nice, but you can do it in the privacy of your home just with a pujari. Someone else had their hand up. Yes.
For religious sentence, understanding, it is therefore best to follow the instruction of bona fide spiritual master, even in visiting temples and holy places of religion. So, is that like whenever we go to different pilgrimages, we should take the blessings?
Or you can just take a blank check. In other words, it doesn't have to be each time you go. It can be, take permission to go visit holy places. No, it's a formality, but formalities aren't a 0. Formalities aren't a 10. It's a formality. Supposing full take place. Which you can maintain. The beginning of japa, that which you can maintain.
How do you know it's really what you can maintain, or you just?
You have to be a little honest, introspective, and that you can experiment a little bit, but you can maintain it because of your lifestyle and the other persons were depending. You have to decide what's your bare minimum, and then add, always looking for when that time comes in my life that I can increase.
Yeah, that was a really important instruction you gave me when my kids were starting to get older. You know, like, you'll have a little more time, but be really intentional about how you fill this little more time.
And deity worship is one dimension, and there's other dimensions. Increase of reading, increase of fill in the blank. Other aspects of devotional service. Book distribution, preaching, this thing, thatting.
Sometimes you visit, I just one more follow-up on this. You visit devotees and it's like, they're so, it's like inspiring how much they have regulation around their trees. It's really inspiring sometimes.
But when it's inside, then it can come out. And then sometimes there's circumstances of life that are constraints on what's inside because of circumstances. Yes. Turn the volume up a little bit.
Regarding the deity worship, earlier not knowing that it actually installed, we had some deities at home, which I was trying to worship in a loving mode. But after coming to ISKCON, my reading has been increased profusely, and sometimes the evening aarti has been conflict with my Srimad Bhagavatam reading and chanting. So sometimes I feel like Bhagavatam reading is also an offering to the Lord.
Yes.
And then I do like 15 minutes, 20 minutes. I don't mind. But then in today's work, you mentioned that regularity and punctuality should be there.
But you can adjust it.
That,
So, yes. Okay. Anyone else?
Online question.
Online, really? Okay.
Amani Radha Mataji from Nepal. She asked, what are the qualifications to have Gauneta at home deities? How can we approach spiritual master submissively for installation?
Well, how to? Come on, just you ask. That's how to. But minimum qualification is, you maintain the 4 regular principles, and you look inside your heart and say, I want to advance in spiritual life, and I'm willing to take this responsibility because it's like inviting a child or inviting anything into your home, and it's not, pick it up and then drop it. It's for the rest of my life. So when that's the qualification. Sincerity, commitment over time, and able to maintain the four regular principles consistently. Anything else? I think we're done.
In the morning, doing chanting first versus arati first, which is preferred?
Different devotees do different things.
Is it okay to switch?
You don't vacillate. Don't one day this, the next day that. Find something that worked for you every day.
The reason why I'm asking Maharaj is I am being inspired by a devotee who has been teaching at 4 a.m. my time, which is my Mangalarti and then chanting time. So I spoke to the devotee. He told, as long as you are not skipping your chanting, you can attend my class first and then you can do the chanting. So sometimes I had this question.
You're speaking to a particular devotee, you find another devotee that's going to say something else. Another devotee will say something else. Another devotee will say something else. So you respect the devotee that said what the devotee said, if you want to attend that class. And if it doesn't work, then you don't attend that class, because that's his requirement. It's prerogative, it's a personal issue, not like a rule. Okay?
And regarding one more.
No. Go ahead.
Maharaj, is there an official course one should take for deity worship?
Official what?
Course.
Course? There's not should, but are there such courses available? That's your question. Most likely, and sometimes they will be given locally, and sometimes there's a deity worship minister. She used to live in this area, but now she lives in Seattle with her husband, because his husband got a job from here to there. Do you have Rasa's contact information? Rasa, you have. So speak to her, and she'll help you with. She'll know if there's something nationally, North America, U.S. and Canada, because she's the deity worship minister. And or she may know of if there isn't something local, or isn't something that she's doing or knows of. Over here, they have the following places often have introductory deity worship seminar. Yes, I see. Go ahead. What'd she say?
How the entrance of Krishna Loka looks like. How is that looks
What's it look like?
Yeah, entrance of Krishna Loka.
Ah. It's off topic, but I'll take the question. That question?
No, how it is in Krishna Loka, it's like this or it is different. Suffering is there, how is it there? She's always asking that.
She always asks, like, if in this life I do good things, will I go to Krishna Loka? So she wants to go.
You're an actress that giggles. That's a nice combination. There's a children's Krishna book. There's an adult Krishna book, but there's also a children's Krishna book. And in both books, there's a description of what's it like there. And it's from the 10th canto. Krishna book is a summary study of 10th canto. In 10th canto, the topics of Krishna are profusely presented. So you'll find descriptions. And I'll suggest, well, there's many places, but one of the places is chapter 12. Krishna book, chapter 12. It's a very lovely description of what it's like there. And you know what's the scenery, and then also what this is the description of the cowherd boys, what the cowherd boys do there in that beautiful scenery, how they interact with the scenery, and what does Krishna feel, what does Krishna do. It's nice that the whole of the Krishna book gives that kind of description. You know, here and there, depends on the chapter. Something else online?
Srila Prabhu was asking after the installation, sometimes deities need to be repaired.
Sometimes what?
Deities need to be repaired before something.
Before the installation?
After the installation.
Why the deity needs to be replaced? Why? Repair. So go to a murtiwala and he help you repair it. Okay. Let's see if there's somebody else. Yeah.
My question was, how important are the routine of duty worship versus like actually doing the chanting or focusing on? Because with the rest of life, there are some occasions where you, I mean, as you wake up early and you couldn't do the duty worship and then you have to go to work. So how important is that to kind of stick with the routine and drive fast and versus like, okay, sorry, I couldn't do it today, I will do it tomorrow. And just,
Yeah. The last one. No. If you're engaging in deity worship in a devotional mood, then it adds strength to the regulation. And once you're regulated, it's going to be less likely you get unregulated because of being accustomed to regulated. It happens. And when it happens and you do one of those. But, like for example, supposing there's illness. Sometimes devotees that regularly worship deities become ill. You know what to do when they become ill because they're like, horizontal. They can't do a deity worship. So that depends on the circumstance. They can ask their spouse or they can ask a child or give the deity to someone else depending upon the severity of the illness because they don't want the worship to be interrupted. But there are circumstances that it happens. And then with folded palms, pranams, and you beg permission from the deity to forgive you because of circumstances, but you're committed to the regulation. Okay. Anyone else? Are you ready for Arti? Okay, so last question. You get the first question and the last question. And the middle question too.
Keep up the mood of serving the deities all the time the same. Why? Because sometimes we are.
Of course not.
Things, and then I feel like doing like manually or artificially.
Well, you know
And
the
sometimes
answer.
I am
You know the
doing-
answer. You know the answer. Without asking the question, you know the answer.
I don't know.
Yes, you do. You have children, and do you prepare meal for the children, regardless of what your mood is? Okay, so there's your answer. Regardless, circumstantially, can be this, can be that, but you don't want to just mechanically take care of the needs of your children. You want to, because they're important to you. So the deity is important. So you do. It's the regulation helps you get to the stage where it's always, not sometimes. Okay. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Jaya Garanita Jaya Garanita Jaya Garanita Jaya Garanita Garanita Jaya 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 Garanita Garanita Jaya Garanita Garanita Jaya Garanita Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jagakuru Shila Prabhupada Jaya Jagakuru Shila Prabhupada Jagakuru Shila Prabhupada Jaya Jagakuru Shila Prabhupada Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Haribo Haribo Nitagora Haribo Nitagora Haribo Haribo Nitagora Haribo Nitago Premanande
Yeah.